Hello and welcome to the world of musical theater. My name is Filippa and I am the understudy, and this is the channel where we talk about everything musical theater related. This video is part of our larger series going through the history of musical theater, and today we are discussing the operetta The Pirates of Penzance. Let's learn. The Pirates of Penzance, or Slave of Duty as the alternative title, is a comic operetta in 2 acts with music written by Arthur Sullivan and libretto by W.S. Gilbert. Being the 5th collaboration between Gilbert and Sullivan, this show was created with a very specific purpose: to address the copyright challenges of their previous operetta HMS Pinafore, which, when brought to the US, had already been stolen by 150 other companies. Because of this, Pirates of Penzance had a rare tri-premiere. First, it had 1 performance in England on December 30th in 1879, solely for British copyright reasons. And then, the day after, it premiered in New York City at the Fifth Avenue Theatre, where it ran for 100 performances. Later the next year, the London debut opened at the Opera Comique, where it ran for 363 performances. The story of Pirates of Penzance is set on the coast of Cornwall, England. Act 1 takes place on the seashore, and Act 2 is set by the moonlight in a ruined chapel. The plot follows Frederick, a young man who just turned 21, who is finally free from his apprenticeship to a group of pirates. Being free, he meets and falls in love with Mabel, one of the daughters of the kind of incompetent Major General Stanley. However, upon learning that he was born on Leap Day, February 29th, and his apprenticeship would last until his 21st birthday, he gives in to his sense of duty and decides to serve the pirates for another 63 years. Mabel agrees to wait for him, but in the midst of pirates and policemen, the pirate's maid of all work, Ruth, reveals a crucial detail, and it all ends happily. Characters of the operetta include Mabel, the Major General's daughter, who is a coloratura soprano, the Pirate King, who's a baritone, Ruth, who's the pirate maid and a contralto, the police sergeant, who is a bass, and Frederick, who's a tenor, as well as an ensemble of pirates, police officers, and the general's other daughters, and the most iconic character, the Major General Stanley, who's a baritone. This character was inspired either by the real-life Sir Garnet Wolseley or a relative of Gilbert's, General Henry Tucker. With an iconic costume and appearance, the audience recognized Wolseley in the performance, and he himself is said to have taken it as a light-hearted tribute, even though some people say that it was inspired by this relative of Gilbert's who he did not really like. The original casting was filled with actors who brought this world to life. They were cast for their talent, not because they were famous, because 1, the team didn't want the show to change due to stardom, and 2, it was cheaper. This brought a humanistic quality to the stage, even against the absurd plotline. There was a natural acting and realistic visual elements, which brought a sheer sense of delight to the stage. The story is, in its entirety, a parodic criticism of the British sense of duty and patriotism. Even the title draws upon this parodic atmosphere, with Penzance being the name of a nice little seaside town in England. The pirates part and the motive of plundering throughout the show is also a poke at how their previous production, HMS Pinafore, was stolen or pirated by so many companies in the US. The legacy of Pirates of Penzance is as strong as its influences from other shows. The show borrows elements from Gilbert's earlier one-act play called Our Island Home, and it drew on ideas from Jack Offenbach's operetta Libretto. Sullivan used the age's music and took influences from the world around him to create the score. Scholars have compared the music to that of Franz Peter Schubert, Domenico Gaetano Maria Donizetti, Verdi, Charles Gounod, Mozart, Rossini, and more. And the show was written while HMS Pinafore was running in London, and you can clearly see the recurring themes and type of characters in Gilbert and Sullivan's stories. We have these self-descriptive pattern songs from Pinafore coming together into the great modern Major General song. We have the romantic material between Frederick and Mabel, and the pretty and stylized ensemble with a parodic atmosphere, and even the character of Ruth being a successor to the famous character Little Buttercup. What's even more impressive is that when they arrived in New York to premiere the show, Sullivan had left his original sketches behind in England and had to rewrite the score in New York City, making it the first American-written operetta, alongside being the only Gilbert and Sullivan operetta to have its official premiere in the US. Having multiple revivals, and a significant run in New York, the show would continue to prosper. Carte Opera Company has also produced it as part of its repertoire countless times for almost a century, when the copyright expired and everyone had access to it. To date, many different opera companies around the world performed the Pirates of Penzance, but the most significant revival was Joseph Papp's Broadway production in 1981. Originally opening in Central Park, it then transferred onto Broadway, where it ran for 787 performances, won the Tony Award for Best Revival and the Drama Desk Award for Outstanding Musical, along with other wins and multiple nominations. This production was directed by Wilford Leach and choreographed by Graciela Daniel, and produced by Joe Papp and the New York Public Theater. The production adapted a more musical comedy style than the operatic sound and included minor rewrites, like additional songs from other Gilbert and Sullivan shows, and the restoration of the original New York ending. It also starred Linda Ronstadt as Mabel, Rex Smith as Frederick, Kevin Kline as the Pirate King, Patricia Routledge as Ruth, George Rose as the Major General, and Tony Azito as the Sergeant of Police. And multiple stars replaced the original cast or were in the Los Angeles cast. Papp's production also transferred to London with a long run and great reviews, and went to Australia. Plus, it inspired multiple foreign language productions in Europe. This production was also turned into a movie in 1983, with the original cast reprising the roles, except for Ruth, which was portrayed by Angela Lansbury. Another exciting adaptation is actually on Broadway right now in 2025. The bold new adaptation titled Pirates of Penzance Musical is produced by the Roundabout Theatre Company and opened on April 25th. Directed by Scott Ellis and choreographed by Warren Carlyle, this production reimagined the operetta with jazz, blues, ragtime, and other contemporary influences, transporting the setting to New Orleans and including large rewrites to reflect the changed settings and the country's diverse nation of immigrants. It featured David Hyde Pierce as Gilbert and as Major General Stanley, Roman Camillo as the Pirate King, Jinx Monsoon as Ruth, Nicholas Barash as Frederick, and Samantha Williams as Mabel, and it has been nominated for Best Revival of a Musical. The Pirates of Penzance has left a lasting mark on the popular culture, with its most famous song, I Am the Very Model of a Modern Major General, setting a new standard for musical theater literacy and lyrical comedy. It has been parodied and referenced to multiple times, from The Simpsons to Animaniacs to Family Guy, and if you are interested in watching some of these references, I've linked a bunch of them below in the description, and along with links to the script, the score, and old recordings from 1929. That said, thank you so much for watching. If you like these kind of videos, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more content. I'm making more of these as we speak, and there's probably a lot more already posted. So yeah, have a wonderful time, and I will see you in the next one.